Mindset is everything.
Well, no, because you're going to look like a dick as well. And the dog starts losing its shit. Another dog, you're like, what the fuck?
How do you sack a client?
Oh, God, they're annoying. When you say you're going to work with a business coach, what is your expectation?
What's my personal expectation, or what's the general consensus?
Well, actually, yeah, it's probably a better question.
I know.
What's the general consensus?
You're going to give me lots of things to do and I'll do them.
Like the actual
tangible.
The tactics.
The tactics, the stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, like almost a bit in a box.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. Some people refer to it as business in a box.
Do you
don't
refer
they?
to it as business in a box?
I'm not sure I like that.
No, it's a bit...
Bit cookie cutter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cookie cutter. That's a good description of it. Okay, so let's assume then we've now got our cookie cutter in a box. Cookies. I'm hungry as well. You're going to hear my stomach
see cookies
growl.
over there.
I
There's
know.
some cookies on the side.
So we've got our cookie cutter business in a box thing. What's the outcome somebody gets from that though?
Well, they're told what to do.
Is that a good thing?
Well, in principle, yes. Sounds amazing. So go work with these guys. They'll tell you exactly what to do to create an amazing business. On the surface, it sounds amazing. What if you're told to do something that you don't believe in or you have doubts around?
Yeah, you got that resistance.
There's a bit of a blocker there. What happens then?
Well, surely you just do it anyway because you've invested in the person and they're telling you that that's how to do it. So crack on.
Right. Let's imagine we're dog trainers. We are. And we're working with a client.
Hold on. Let me step over here. Put my treat bag on. Put my treat bag on, my leggings and my hoodie.
Okay.
I'm good.
Right.
I'm not far off that outfit.
No, you're not far off that outfit. So there we are. Dog trainer hat on. Client in front of us. Here's the thing that you need to do. Now, does the owner say, ooh, that's going to be a bit of a problem? Or does the owner just do it?
I don't know.
Would we be doing our job as an awesome dog trainer if we didn't investigate? So say, for example, we'd set some homework tasks, went back the following week because we now don't do ad hoc sessions and the progress hadn't been made. Two things could happen. We could get really frustrated and think, uncommitted owner, doesn't care about their dog, don't know why I'm working with this person, they're not doing the stuff. Or we could go, there might be a genuine reason there why that person hasn't done that work. Even if they say, life's got in the way, the kids, the husband, birthdays, whatever, Christmas. We might let that one go once and then we might come across the same thing again. Is it our duty to then go, this needs exploring a little bit?
I think so.
I would say so as well. Now, there is probably an argument to say that, does every dog trainer do that? Or do they just keep getting frustrated and then give up? I read, this is on a tangent, but kind of in the same way. I read a thread on a Facebook group this morning that said, how do you sack a client? And literally it was about this same thing of an uncommitted client that hadn't been doing the homework. How do you tell them that you don't want to work with them anymore because they're just rubbish? That's that. And there was like 50 comments.
What were the comments? Did you look at them?
Oh, just like, some people were saying like, refer to my T's and C's. You need to do the work.
God, fucking hate that.
That kind of stuff. And there was a couple of people that were like, why don't you just talk to them and find out what's going on?
Good, you people,
There were a couple of people like that, but the majority were like, oh, annoying people, like they don't do the stuff, they're just like annoying, that kind of thing.
Makes me sad.
It does make me really sad actually as well. So we would go down the route of trying to explore that.
Yeah.
Rather than say, hi, Mrs. Brown, why haven't you been doing the work? Do you think that approach is going to work? It's very shit. How else should we do it?
Oh, there's so much to explore in this, isn't there? It's a good topic for today.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We've talked about a lot of the shit that goes on behind the scenes in our world. And I would imagine I have not necessarily been the best client to like our mentors or anything that I've invested in. Even if that's just a self-paced course. I've not been the best client for that business because I've not participated in the course that I've paid for because I'm busy. So am I now a shit person?
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, yes, based on what we've just been
It's a
discussing.
good question to ask, isn't it?
I like to think I'm not a shit person.
No.
I haven't intentionally tried to make that business look or feel bad because I haven't done the stuff. I've genuinely had a lot going on.
Yep.
You've had a lot going on.
Yep.
It's hard stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we don't want to do it and we don't care and all of that, but sometimes priorities get bumped to the top of the list and everything else just disappears.
Mm-hmm. So if we just keep living in our own isolated worlds of one side of the party gets really frustrated and the other side of the party isn't really getting out of it what they hope they might get out of it just because life or just because other stuff, where do we go from there? How do we move forward with that?
Well, this is the problem with that cookie cutter approach, isn't it? Because I don't think it even matters in what viewpoint you look at it from, whether it's like that business coach and you're just essentially purchasing the box of tricks that you start doing this. I almost see this as some people advertise it as a you'll get all my like a social media content planner.
Yeah.
And maybe some email templates and maybe a script or copy this or whatever it is. But theoretically, like that's a lot of stuff you could just start implementing. But again, it's that question of, is that what you want to do? So arguably, yes, like, and you know, keeping it within the business theme, business is in general should have the same foundations. There's not much you could do differently. Very similar to dog training. Doesn't matter which course provider you learn it from, you will just learn their slightly nuanced version of the same thing. You're not going to be able to do much different. It's just somebody's interpretation again on top of it. So theoretically, yes, if you apply all the things that somebody is telling you to do, again, like dog training and or business, you should theoretically get an outcome. But I think we forget, or maybe we don't even register it, that we are dealing with sentient beings, both dog and human, and we all have different behaviours. We all perceive things differently. We all consume things differently. We learn things differently.
We've all had different experiences throughout our lives.
There are so many variables to apply to that training execution.
We're all different personality profiles.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you've been listening to us for a while, we really love diving into that personality profile because it affects how somebody does the work or doesn't do the work or receives the information.
Yeah. So I just don't think that... I feel like everybody has a crappy experience when we think that we're going to get something that's different to our expectation.
Yeah.
And I think that's on the individual providing that service to own that and go, okay, so how can we do better? How can we do different? And it's the one thing that I will give us credit for, that if we genuinely feel that someone's had a different experience or expectation to what they thought they were going to get coming in, well, the first place we look is internally. We look at each other and go, how did we fuck that one up? Like, genuine question.
What did we miss there?
Yeah. Not, oh God, they're annoying or they're shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not helpful to anybody. And if anything, the onus is on you. You are responsible for it. I do the same with the kids. Like, if they're acting a certain way, I'm like, that's on me. How has that happened?
Yeah.
Same with the dogs.
Well, exactly the same as the dog. We all know that if you've got a puppy and it chews your shoes, first thing we need to go is, oh, we shouldn't have left those there.
Yeah.
It's not the puppy's fault. It's going to go get them.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to look inward first again to go, okay, so how has that happened? How has that person thought this thing and we've thought this thing?
Yeah.
So there's been a disconnect
There's been a gap,
somewhere.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's address it without making anybody wrong. But if I'm going to make anybody wrong, it's always going to be myself or the business, like our business. Okay, because it's a learning curve. Like, in my opinion, you should absolutely be able to spot the own flaws within your business and your own delivery that you can implement things to make it better.
Yeah. And I think if you can't do that, there needs to be some work to be done
Wow.
on that, because you see this, I don't know, you see it in Facebook groups all the time. Go back to, we've just been talking about Facebook groups, but it's that very narrow-minded view and mindset, isn't it? To go like, it's them, it's not me. Yeah. Where does that come from? So we would ask, why are we thinking like that? Where does that come from? Who's validated that? And it's probably something that someone else has said. And we've gone, oh, they said that, so I'm allowed to say that. And it's okay. But is it what you truly believe?
Yeah, that's it. But I think from our point of view, you can't just give something or take something and just execute it, because you're going to have feelings about it.
Yeah. Can't do it identical from one person to the next, can you?
No. In fact, we know we know a few people that are struggling with their own business models, both in the dog training world and in the business side of it. And they're seeing our success and they're mimicking it, but they're not getting the same success off the back of it. Why? The same thing, literally the same. Posts are similar. Niches, there's a niche for starters. Ticket prices are similar. Assets are similar. Not having the same level of success. What's the difference? Because you've just implemented the same thing. Like, the tactics are there. So why isn't it working?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it depends on how you look at it. You could say, well, because again, arguably, if you can genuinely see that they are doing everything the same, something's still going wrong somewhere if it's not working.
Yeah.
And this is where, for us, that work has to be done. And this is where I genuinely don't think you can separate yourself from your business, which I appreciate is a really grey area, because in another breath, we're always saying, detach yourself from your business. You are not your business.
Yeah.
But you operate in your business. And if from your place of operation, you are calling the shots and you are making decisions, where are you making those decisions from? From the business mindset or from your mindset?
Yeah. Yeah.
Therein lies the problem and the tangled web.
Ooh, a tangled web. It is a tangled web. It is
very
like
dramatic thing. You even had an animated hand.
It's like that spaghetti brain.
A spaghetti brain.
You know,
do you know,
on
somebody
Canva,
said to me the spaghetti
brain.
junction the other day, and I was like, oh my God, you're nowhere near Birmingham and you know the spaghetti junction.
Yeah. But the brain is a bit like that spaghetti junction, isn't it? And it's knowing how we work through those barriers, blockers, mindset, limiting beliefs, whatever. Yeah. How do we want, because we want everyone to succeed. Everyone who comes on board with us, we want them to succeed. There isn't any point, like, it's a waste of our time and our energy if we just go do this thing and we know full well they're not ready to do that thing. We know they will be ready to do that thing if they do the work around it, but it's our job to figure it out and help people work through it. because people can't do it by themselves. Why should they? If they've never had to do that before, or they've lived their life in a sort of a one-track way and it's always kind of worked all right, why should they suddenly be told, let's question where this comes from and let's try and figure out, like, is it your opinion or is it someone else's opinion? And what opinions do your family members have? And like, where does those, all of that sort of, those ideas, where do they come from? Like, it's quite deep sometimes. And I think people are a little bit shocked when they work with us because they're like, oh, wasn't expecting this. I thought you'd just be telling me what to do.
Yeah, yeah. I've had dog training clients say that to me before. Like, if we've got really, really fearful, those dogs that are like glued to a corner of the room and just refuse to move. They're that scared. So typically the overseas ones. And I remember working with a couple of dogs like that. And the owner, Dave, bless him. I can say Dave because it's quite generic name. Poor Dave. Dave would, months it took for me to get Dave to come on board and thinking, oh, so I don't go up into this dog's face and keep petting them and going, hello, be my friend.
Bless Dave.
Like, no.
So hard for him.
It was very hard for him. And we had to work through why he found that so challenging. Months that took.
Yeah.
And I could honestly say, hand on my heart, I still don't think we cracked it because it was such a deep-seated feeling that this is how you behave around dogs.
And he also had feelings of feeling rejected by them.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, isn't it, for an animal?
Yeah.
To feel like that.
So he really struggled with it. So when we're asking him to essentially just, you'd think it's the easiest thing in the world to do. It's like, just ignore them.
Just don't look at them. Pretend they're not in the room.
Yeah, just go about your day.
Couldn't do it. He really, really couldn't do it.
So, and then the wife, she was incredibly frustrated with poor Dave.
Him, yeah.
She's frustrated at the dogs, but then she felt sorry for the dogs and she wanted to do all that. And then, but without going into the nitty gritty of understanding why, then we're never going to be able to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that wouldn't have gone anywhere near as far as it did if we hadn't had those conversations.
No, like we could have gone in and just given them the tactics, given them the, just do this, and this, and then I'll check in with you in like 6 months' time.
Yeah.
Have you done it? Well, absolutely not.
And our perception of Dave could be, oh my God, do you remember that really annoying guy that just couldn't, all he needed to do was ignore the dogs.
Didn't listen.
He was so, oh my God, never working with anyone like him again.
That shouldn't have taken as long as it did. Shouldn't have taken as long as it did. Well, you've got work to pull apart there. You've got to figure it out.
That's a perfect example. I know we're not talking about this today, but that's a perfect example why a long-term program is just the only way that could have worked. And okay, they were very fearful, they're overseas rescues, blah, 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 but it couldn't have worked any other way. Can you imagine just doing a one-off session with them?
Well, I can see how people would actually, because you'd go, I can't do anything until the dog's ready.
Yeah.
In fact, I know other trainers that then go, well, it's outside of the remit in which you've paid. And because I don't feel like I'm doing anything because I can't work the dog, I will come out to you and I will just sit and be in your house for hours on end.
For free.
For free, so the dog gets used to me.
Yeah, I've
so
heard
that I
that
can then
well.
work them.
Yeah, I've heard so.
I'm like, again, it's so lovely. How is that helping anybody though?
No, it's not.
It really isn't. And, talking about accessibility again, which we've got on another previous episode, you're not helping as many people as you possibly can by doing things like that. You are if that's a paid service. And again, mindset, it could sound really shitty, but that is that. But you can't just give somebody the execution without trying to understand how they feel about it, how they take it in. And again, some of these things might sound completely disconnected, but we like to bring all these things in. Even in my uni class, like just looking at learning styles and even the age differences in there. Like, I learn very differently to all those little whippersnappers in there.
We use very different language from those whippersnappers in
Yes,
there,
I don't
as
understand
we were chatting about earlier.
Half of it.
Don't have an idea of what they're talking about these days.
No. Weird things. We shan't go there because this will take a spin.
And this will make me sound really, really old.
But even within that setting, if someone's not understanding why somebody's not handing their assignments in on time, or why they're not participating in that particular lesson, why they're not doing the Blue Peter Pritt Stick exercise, because I don't see the point of it.
The Blue Peter Pritt Stick exercise? What?
I got given a piece of blue paper the other day and got told to fold it into 6 and cut it into 6 squares and write the numbers 1 to 6 on it.
Oh, okay.
Level 6 education, folks.
Wow.
Yes. Blue Peter and Art Attack all rolled into one.
People are listening go, what's that? Is Blue Peter even still on?
I don't know. I realised
no
this
idea.
the other way. Anyway, yeah. So all of that is happening. So technically, that lecturer is going, here's the stuff. Here's the information. Go forth. Implement. Learn. Give it to me in an assignment and an exam. I'm like, okay. What like, and again, like that's a really interesting one if you just look at me personally, because then I'm looking at that going, what's the point?
But also that's another conversation about the
That is
system
another,
that we won't be having today.
But I'm like, what is
where it fails
I don't understand
people, doesn't it?
why I need to do that. So already you've got to understand me differently to be able to find something to latch onto to go, well, actually it's because of this.
But you could be seen as being the problem there.
Absolutely.
Oh, everyone else has got it apart from Jo for some reason. Like, she can't seem to get it. I don't know what's wrong with her.
She just doesn't turn up anymore.
Well, there is that.
But you know what I mean? Like you can make so many assumptions off the back of just not trying to understand it. And arguably that's someone giving you the tactics. So again, so now us in the business coaching realm, we're giving you the stuff like do this, get that is theoretically what should happen.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we don't just do that is for all these reasons that we're getting at. Because it's not as straightforward as that. Like if you told me, like if I came to you and you told me to put classes on, for example, I'm like, I don't want to do them.
Yeah, but Jo, you have to do that. That's what I'm telling you to do. That's the best way.
Well, okay then. So maybe because I've invested and I want my business to work and you're telling me that's what I need to do, I'll do it. So, okay, I'll go and do it. I don't enjoy it.
But then 3 months later, you do it for 3 months. How do you feel?
I still don't enjoy it.
So then what happens?
I'll probably stop working with you because I haven't got an outcome.
Ooh. Yeah. Didn't solve my problem.
No, it
Didn't
didn't.
do
Because
what
I'm
I
back
wanted
to
to do.
square one now. I've made that investment. I've not done anything because, well, I tried it and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But I could have told you that from the start if you'd said to me, like, what do you want to do? And then I suppose there's another flip side to it of, well, okay, maybe we are willing to try something, or we think we're willing to try something. Because I think this is a genuine one as well. I think for a lot of us out there, we genuinely believe in what we've invested in. So we're going to listen and we will attempt to implement. And I think the people that are really good at coaching and guiding, and this still works in the trainer behavior realm as well, people that are really good in those, if you kind of like akin it to a leadership role, maybe. People that are really good in those positions are those that will push you when needed and will hang back when needed as well, and are able to dance between the both, and are able to identify that all very well and good me telling you to do this, but I know deep down you're not going to do it. So it's pointless me telling you to do it, and we need to uncover what the blocker is.
Yeah. And then how we do that is asking as many questions as we can to figure out how that person actually feels. Because let's face it, how many, and I don't know the answer to this, but are business coaches asking enough questions to figure out how someone feels?
It's a good question.
Because I would suggest that they're not for the most part.
I'm not convinced.
Because you find out so much. We talk about sales calls. Asking as many questions as you possibly can will give you the biggest picture of how somebody feels, how high the issue, like how big that pain is and how much of a problem their dog is. If you don't ask the right questions, you're going to assume the problem is really big, and it might not be. And actually, you coming in and giving all these, tangible things for them to go and do, they're like, I actually don't see the point because it's not that big an issue. But have you actually asked to find out? Because you're going to assume it is, because someone having a dog that doesn't come back off lead is a huge issue for us because they shouldn't be letting the dog off in the first place. But for that person, is it an issue?
Yeah, then they're not going to listen to you anyway.
Yeah.
What's the point?
If they've had lots of times where the dog's been off lead, run up to another dog, but they haven't had a repercussion off it, is it going to really affect them? Or have they encountered that one person that's gone and gone absolutely mad, and it's made them go, oh God, shit, I really need to do this now. And that might be the pain point, the fear of what other people are going to say. Back to the fear of judgment, I suppose. But it's those things, isn't it? So it's very, very similar to how we would approach that sales call, and asking as many questions you can enables you to then decide, A, whether you can help them, and B, how you start to help them.
Yeah. Because ultimately, you are implementing a strategy. What's the strategy to get you to that point? Now, I would quite happily admit that over my years of dog training, I haven't always gone in with that strategy in those early years. In fact, being completely honest, because that's what we are, I studied the absolute dogs, did the pro dog trainer thing, learned all the games, and basically that was my strategy.
Shoehorned them in.
To just go, okay, I'm now working with you over a longer term, which is great, both financially and for you, because now I get to perfect these little games. But I was still in that mindset of, well, I'm just going to teach you, like if I've got 15 games in my head, well, I'm just going to teach you those 15 games over this time period.
Yeah.
All I'm going to do.
But isn't that...
There's the training.
But don't you think that is quite a common, especially, I want to say, in a class format, to be fair, because you fill it and you pad it out with things. I definitely did. But I did that in a class a lot of the time. And you've got someone who's coming in going like, my dog has started to do this. Oh, but we've got this puppy class. And you're like, okay, but no one's asking any questions here as to figure out whether that puppy class is actually going to be suitable or whether they're going to get the result they want from that puppy class. And you don't like, it's almost like we're scared to know the answer, because I think if we ask and we go, shit, we haven't got a product that's going to solve that.
Actually, you know what, when you were talking, I'm wondering if this is where a lot of this imposter syndrome bit comes from again. Because thinking about it at the time, this is where I think these courses, and we've said it before, that the level of dog knowledge out there now is incredible. Like, you can learn so much, and it is getting better by the day. It's a really, really like good place for learning about dog behaviour. However, I still think there is a massive gaping hole in the practicalities of it. So when, and again, if you take that, and I think this is where that differentiation between trainer and behaviourist comes in, because we go, oh shit, I'm not a behaviourist, because if I've just done like Pro Dog, let's say, or Pact or any of those type of ones, I've learned a bit about Pavlov and I've learned about all of this theory stuff, and I get the concept of it, and I can teach my loose lead and I can teach some recall stuff. But now if somebody comes in and their dog's barking at the window, I don't know what to do with that. That's where it falls into behaviour. But arguably, it could, like, this was my take on it. Well, if I just did some air quote training exercises with the dog, maybe that was enough to actually get them to go, oh, I just needed to use my brain.
And
a lot of the time.
And it might work sometimes.
And I know that there will be people out there now going like, no. But again, I'm being honest, because this is how I fell into it, because nobody guides you.
No, they don't.
There are these incredible courses out there, but they lack severely in that guidance of, right, okay, what are you going to do then when you're sat in front of a client and they say, oh, yeah, he's crap on loose lead. So you're thinking, yes, I've done my loose lead section. I know how to do that. I'm in. And then you sat there and you're having your cup of tea. Or you meet them in the park and then all of a sudden the dog starts losing its shit. Another dog, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought we were doing loose lead. That's the only thing I know how to do. What do?
Yeah.
You bullshit it on the spot. no, you can't do that. Do you tell them that you don't know what you're doing? Well, no, because you're going to look like a dick as well. What do you do?
I think sometimes people do say that. Oh, it's out of my remit. I'm going to recommend someone else to you.
Go to a behaviour.
And therefore, like, that journey is completely disjointed now because you've gone from one person to the next person.
Everything's disconnected.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I can't remember how we got onto this tangent.
No, nor me. I don't know how we're going to get back from it either. Just all around mindset, wasn't it?
That's it. But no, it is. That's it. We're back on. But it all comes back down to when I don't know what I'm doing and I feel like I just need the step-by-step approach on how to implement something. There's all this other stuff that's happening in the background. So at that point, what I think I was trying to get to and went off on a tangent was when I'm implementing the training exercises, am I committed enough? Am I owning the fact that maybe I don't feel as confident if this other thing arises and now I'm shoehorning in an exercise for the sake of it and trying to make it work? A bit like a jigsaw puzzle. I'm just literally trying to make the pieces fit. Because arguably, I think that is genuinely all you can be doing anyway. And the more and more I study behaviour, like I'm at level 6 for crying out loud. I don't think I could keep doing more, but I feel like I know a lot. I've been on the ground for a long time with it. Yet weirdly, that imposter bit still creeps up when you're in certain circles to go, I don't know enough, which is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And it all comes back down to this mindset. And it all comes back down to providers of any service-oriented business. If you are not spending the time understanding your customer and your audience, you are going to fail in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. Because I think that a lot of dog trainers are putting their clients in a box and they're expecting them to ask no questions, to do it.
So we've got business in a box and clients in a box.
Clients in a box, don't you think though? Because
can I order some clients in a box, please?
I don't want clients in a box. I want them breaking out the box. But that's the thing, right? So they're in that little box, and as long as they stay in their little box, we're all good. But the minute they start making a bit of noise or showing a bit of resistance or, I don't know, there's any kind of kickback, they're the worst people in the world. They're this, they're that. And that's what you see.
And it's because we don't know what to do with it.
We don't know what to do with it.
And actually, that comes down to your personality, your learning style, your experiences. All of that stuff will show up in those moments.
Yeah. How you react to that situation will be all those previous learnings.
Which is why anytime we catch ourselves having a thought about anyone we're working with, we go, whoa, stop there.
Stop. That's come from somewhere.
Yeah,
where's we need to respect that, and we need to just pause and figure out a little bit.
Because again, we're only human.
Yeah.
We are
complicated bloody creatures, aren't we?
Really complicated. But you know, like, we are only human, and we'd be lying if we said that initial thought doesn't creep in now and again. We go like, oh, but what? Oh, wait, hold on. No, check yourself.
Yeah.
Like, where's that coming from?
But that to me shows that if someone has the ability to stop themselves, to almost default their brain into, and then go, oh, do you know what? No, that is not going to help anyone. That's a huge amount of growth. Yeah. That's huge. That's a really big thing to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And anyone who can do that should be really proud of themselves, because it's not an easy thing to do.
No, it's practice.
It is.
It helps if you've got somebody to catch you as well.
Yeah. It does. Yeah,
like it's really helpful. And we do it with everyone who works with us. Again, in both CBA and in the dog training world, if we hear them saying certain thoughts or certain beliefs or those, like anything negative comes out of their mouth, we're like, catch yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, you didn't want to start thinking like that, and you've defaulted because it's easier.
But this, again, another little slight spinning tangent here is that surrounding yourself with the right people is absolutely essential to success, because you can do all the work you can on yourself, and if you're still surrounding yourself with the negativity, you're going to be dragged down in 2 seconds by it, because that's going to default in your brain. Let's think of how we work with a dog and go like, just because you've come along and taught that dog some new training exercises, do you think that's the dog's default until it's bedded in? time and time and time again, and everybody's changed their attitudes around the dog, that's who the dog is surrounding themselves with. And that's how you are going to surround yourself with working with a business coach or whatever you want to call them.
So true. So I genuinely don't believe in these cookie cutter approaches.
No,
and I think
it rarely works, does it?
I think it's really misleading, certainly from the business side, when we think, and again, we've done it. We've invested in things thinking, yay, that's the answer to all my problems. I'll go do that course. I'll go do that thing.
But this, I suppose, is again where like an add-on service doesn't really do the job that it's supposed to do. Because, you know, when we have these all-in-ones, like all-in-ones sound great, don't they? We've had it with like systems, haven't we? Where we've had CRM systems that have been this all-in-one thing. You can do this, you can do that. And it ends up overloading somebody, or it doesn't do anything that well. So when you've got these business in a box add-on things, which, you know, there are companies out there that offer these kind of things, it's doing somebody a disservice because it's not going to see them through. It's not going to cover all these things. It's not going to delve into your own individual mindset around everything that you believe in. And it's going to do a little bit of a shitty, diluted job, really. And this isn't to just diss everyone else, by the way, but this is, if it's literally just a tacked on thing, like this is what we do, but we're going to tack this on. How is that possibly going to...
Well, that's it. I think it depends on how it's been tacked on as well, doesn't it? Like if you know that they're at limited resources anyway, and then they're putting additional service offerings on, you're like, oh, that's...
Yeah.
You've got like a whole company you've brought on. Fucking epic.
Right.
Like crack on, take my money.
Yeah, exactly. If you can allocate like people specifically who know their craft and can do that thing, amazing. But if it's just literally like, oh, we could do that thing that seems to be a buzz at the moment, let's just tack it on. It's not going to do it.
So I think it's our belief that you absolutely can't implement business strategy well without doing some personal work as well.
Yeah, it just goes hand in hand. Like for me, like look how much I've learned and look how much like I've grown mindset wise. I just wouldn't be where I am today without it. There's no way I probably would have ever moved forward, to be honest, without it.
No, it's that awareness piece all the time, and you don't. It's a really hard one to try and. Like it's not tangible, is it?
No.
You
It's
can't.
not a thing you can't
buy a
or-
thing. You
no.
can't go. Give me some good mindset, please.
Can you give me that bit? That's missing.
Can I buy that so that I can get that, so that when you give me the tactics to implement, I can just do it. Because ultimately, it's a bit like therapy, isn't it? We moan about it in dog training all the time. We're like, oh, I feel like a therapist. You are one. Just own it.
Yeah, but how many of our clients say that it's like a therapy session?
Yeah.
We get it all the time.
Like if you're in a service-based business, helping somebody with behaviour, I'm sorry, therapist.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You have to be in that position because it will come up. Even if you try and detach yourself from it as much as possible and go, right, straight face. Here's the stuff. Go and implement this important business stuff. You have to talk like this when you do. Go and do this thing. And then you're there going like, oh God, like I've had a really crap week and all of it. I can't. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. Just go and do the thing.
A wall comes up and they're like, no.
Go do the thing. Like, don't let your personal life affect the business. I hear that actually.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
That's the biggie. I'm like, how? It's going to affect it.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest blocker in it, really. Let's face it, for a lot of people.
Life happens.
Yeah.
So let's
Got to
figure it
ride the
out.
wave, not try and like put a dam up on that.
Right, summarise.
Mindset is everything. Personal development is growth. The more you look inwards, the more questions we ask, the more we can figure out the path that someone needs to take.
On that note,
Is that a good summary?
we'll go with it.
Okay, cool. Thanks for listening.
Ciao for now.